All right, mates, welcome back to the channel. Everybody's doing well. Getting ready to get back on the road up to the Susky. We're going to fish the Goldsboro area, off the Goldsboro ramp. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Water level up there is still pretty low. A little higher than that part, but still pretty low on the Susky. I'm going to put a video on all the baits, everything from the river that we get, we notice, we see, in terms of what's biting, what's not, what's working with the baits. Go ahead and watch that video. Probably land that video later tonight, maybe tomorrow morning. We'll see what happens with what goes down. We're out there yesterday, a little further up yesterday towards above Harrisburg, where we'll be on Thursday and Friday. But water level up there was pretty low and pretty quickly moving too. So everyone needs to make sure that they're careful if they're up there. We're talking KFL here. Power rankings after week 5. Okay, power rankings after week 5. A lot of people hit me up because they don't understand, like, there's always 2 power rankings coming out. And it's all good fun. Everyone has their different mindsets or different things they're using. But I want to reiterate to everybody, it's all fun. It's not personal. It's all fun and just metrics, okay, with me. That's what I do in the real world. In terms of metrics, algorithms, and all that good, fun stuff that most people can't stand. So when you build your algorithm and you build your cycle of how you're determining, it's like RPI. You've seen that RPI, but here's the thing: RPI is fun, and RPI is fun to talk about, but RPI has nothing to do with determining, really, the actual quality of a team in the KFL, when the league has already articulated to the teams what the 4 factors are that determine whether or not you make the playoffs or not, or how you're seeded in the playoffs or not. It doesn't really make much sense to use all this other stuff when all this other stuff has no bearing at the end of the season. What inevitably you're going to have if you use the other stuff is you're going to have a team that ranks very high or higher on the power rankings or moved up really high because of something that happened who still doesn't make the playoffs. And you're like, wait, how can a team be ranked 4th in the power ranking and not make the playoffs? Here's why. Overall record is number 1. Okay, your overall record, like the NFL, is what seeds you, okay, in terms of your ranking in your division. Again, the KFL has stated they patterned their whole format after the NFL, okay? Divisional record is next. Games won, lost within the division. Teams that you play twice, right? Head-to-head. So tiebreaker would be head-to-head in terms of 2 teams end up with the same record, okay? And then lastly, point spread. What's the point spread? The point spread is the difference between points for throughout the season and points against, and that number. Those are your 4 metrics for determining how a team makes it to the playoffs in the KFL. And the only 4. Anything else that gets added now just is made up along the way. Okay? And so that's what was stated at the beginning of the season. So that is what should carry all the way through, unless they decide to change things up and do whatever, which isn't very credible, but okay? So, power rankings going into week 6. Coosa is still number 1. I know that Todd and I clearly have a different perspective in terms of his power rankings and mine. He has Motor City at number 1. Here's my pushback on that. Motor City isn't ranked number 1 in the power rankings based on the 4 factors. Here's why. Coosa's 4-0. They're 4-0 overall. So is Motor City. Coosa's 3-0 in their division. So is Motor City. Coosa has registered 737.5 inches. Motor City's registered 711. Coosa has registered 554 points against them. Okay, their opponents have scored 554 inches against them. Motor City, 634. So the differential is 183 to the good. For Coosa, 76.75. So more than twice. So the points spread for Coosa is twice as much as Motor City. There's no justification for Motor City being number 1, based on the parameters set by the league of who is going to make the playoffs. There's just not. Okay? Motor City comes in right there in second. Okay? Right above, just above Granite State, based on those metrics. Granite State's 4-0, 3-0 in their division. They've got 701. So they have 10 less points for, and they've given up 20 more inches against. So their point spread is 46.50. You can't put Granite State, as much as I would want to, you can't put Granite State above Coosa or Motor City. After that, you have Arkansas at 3-1 and 3-1 in their division. Okay? 547, 396, 150. That's the second most, I think, point spread in the league. Okay? So you have Coosa, Motor, Granite, Arkansas, Washington, and then the New York Empire. Solely based on that. With Connecticut and the Slayers coming right below. The 2-2 teams. That's just what that is. But here's something to think about. Motor City's opponents, okay? If you just want to look at this, isn't factored into your playoffs. This is just a metric. Motor City, their opponent's record is better than all the other opponents' records in the top. So you could make that argument, like, okay, they've played better teams and are 4-0, but that's not a metric used for playoffs. Okay? They've played Washington and beat them. Indianapolis beat them last weekend. Tennessee beat them twice. So they've only played one team outside their division. And that's not really uncommon. There are some teams that have only played within their division. New York Empire has only played divisional teams going into week 6. Connecticut twice, Delaware twice, and Pennsylvania. Washington has only played one team outside their division. They've played Virginia Reapers, Carolina, and Norfolk, and now they play the Doom. Okay? Arkansas only played teams in their division. Oklahoma twice, Louisiana, and the Lone Star Bandits. And now they play Louisiana again. So after week 6, Arkansas has only played its division. They've never played anyone outside their division. Granite State, Connecticut, they played outside their division. Rhode Island, be a second time this weekend. Bay State and Maine. So that's how that kind of like works. Like, all right? I mean, so it's something to think about, like in terms of a lot of these teams, like the Empire, got some teams outside their division to play. Okay? Granite State's got some more teams. Motor City's got some more teams. Okay? Outside. Arkansas, obviously, has got some teams outside their division to play. So that's how that works. Okay? Now, I want you to think about it, like if you think about it in the NFL, remember though, the divisional and overall is a unique dynamic. Remember 2017, the Tennessee Titans in the NFL did not win their division. Jacksonville did. But Jacksonville had a worse divisional record than the Tennessee Titans did. But Jacksonville's overall record was better that season. So they were placed higher in the division. Think about that. Okay? So all that comes into play, but that's just the way it is. We got Coosa, still have Coosa number 1. They had a bye week. Nothing's changed for them. Okay? Nothing's changed. Okay? Other teams, even with one more game than them, are still trailing them in the categories. Okay? Especially point spread. So you would think people would have made up a lot of room on the point spread, right? Because they had a bye. But people haven't. That's why Coosa's won. Motor City, Granite, give the edge to Motor City. Momentum to Motor City too as well. With who they've beaten and that kind of thing. Granite, Arkansas, Washington is winning their division. New York Empire is leading their division. So your divisional leaders are basically at the top, which is the way it should be. Whether you have one loss or no losses. All right, mates.